Has anybody listened to any of the audio recordings yet? I'll still pull them up. I'll get started. My name is Jeff Wedgwood. This class is class 4 for scientific evidence for evolution. I've also given you the handout for class 5 because last time we went pretty quickly. So I thought maybe it'll go quickly again. Let me review briefly the previous classes to make sure that we're all on the same page. The first thing in the introduction, there wasn't a whole lot, although I defined hypothesis, which is a scientific term for a guess, theory, the word science itself, and the scientific method are in your handout for class 1. In class 2, I defined Darwin's theory of evolution in the most simplistic fashion is descent with modification due to natural selection. And there was a gentleman here at that time who's not here now who asked about genetic engineering. And I don't think I gave him the best possible answer, but natural selection is an external pressure, either diet, climate, or other genes. A parasite has infected me and I react to the parasite. That's an external event. A virus puts its, like chickenpox, puts its own DNA in a cell and comes back as shingles, so we know that some of the DNA can get inside our cells. And that genetic engineering is a human's attempt to put in DNA such that it will work properly and such that it will not destroy the function of something else. Also, if you think about it, Down syndrome is merely because there's an extra chromosome 23. And we don't know yet which of the things on that chromosome are responsible, but the simple point is if you have more of something, it's not always better. In class 3, we talked about elements, isotopes of elements, heavy water, things like that. Sign in and get your handouts if you don't have them. Running? Talked about radioactive decay, half-life, the use of the mass spectrometer, carbon-14 dating, very briefly, but it's mostly in your handout. And then the different kinds of radiometric testing, including the potassium-argon, which is a nice one because there's no argon in lava naturally. And so that when you dig through a layer of lava, you can use potassium-argon degradation and use that ratio to get a date. There's also uranium to lead. There are a lot of different steps in there, but I would strongly recommend, I didn't bring it today, but Mr. Dalrymple's book on, there we go, right at the top. Is that large enough for you to be able to read? No. There we go. How about that? Just a sec. Okay, we'll go down one. Can you read that? I hope not very well. It's just the not very good contrast in this computer. Oh dear me. Okay. Well, at the very top, it says G. Brent Dalrymple, Ancient Earth, Ancient Skies. Superb book for figuring out or for learning how we date meteorites, how we know that this rock came from Mars, this rock came from the moon.
If you go through here, then we have
That's fine.
Give it to me. Now you're free.
Now I'm free. Thank goodness. And then in class 4, I introduced you to William Smith, the geologist, and his principles of superposition, that is, sedimentary rocks are laid down one layer on top of the other on top of the other, and his principle of faunal succession, that is to say that in each of those layers you do not get the same animals and fossils. We're going to continue the end of that, we talked about the Earth's core and how, and I hope it's in the handout, the woman who, Richard Oldham, and then Inga Lehman. Inga Lehman in the 1930s used seismic records throughout the world of one earthquake, and she's the one who determined that there was a hard solid iron core.
And a liquid one.
Yeah, liquid, excuse me. Solid inner core and liquid outer core. And today we're going to be covering plate tectonics and continental drift. And next time is fossils. You do not want to miss next time. Trust me. That one's going to be fun. And then the last three, I'm going to cover DNA 101, sort of just what is DNA and so on, and how do we use it. The second one is DNA and the central dogma of biology, which I'll get to. And then the last one is student's choice. As your professor, as your teacher, I would prefer that we continue with the chemistry idea because that's my bailiwick and I feel very comfortable there. Okay. Plate tectonics. First of all, start with this one. Then a miracle occurs. I think you should be more explicit here in step 2. I think I showed that to you before, but I really enjoy that cartoon. Oh, well, let's just take a look. Here is the sand dollar evolution from the sea urchin, from the left to the right. Oh, yeah. I tried to draw that badly, but they had a diagram of it. Let's just see what else I have. There we go. In context. Nope, we don't want to look at that. I think Marlene was the one that asked about humans and gills. Whoa, hey. Oh, okay, this is not my computer, so it's acting up, apparently. What the heck just happened? Let's go to... let's just go anywhere here. The glossary is online, so that if you're having any difficulty understanding some of the words, it's online. The reading list, as I said, I only put in 6 books, or 7 books so far. You can go to the 2010 page, and if you wish to see something more. I put in a few beginning links that are to start with, and there is a class calendar. For some reason, it doesn't like me. You should be able to click on it and click agenda and get something that looks like this, which is basically which class and a brief outline. So I'll let you try and figure out how to get that to work. It just doesn't like me today.